So are you looking backwards while you're trying to move forwards? Today we're going to talk about how to work that out. Coming up. Hi guys, it's Leo with One Happy Widow. Today we're going to talk about a situation that I think a lot of grievers and widows and widowers, they struggle with. So my kids and I, we have started walking every day. And so I came up with this cute little idea, I guess. We walk around this long path that's in a circle, and the first part of it is this straight sidewalk area. And so I told the kids that every day a different person gets to choose what kind of walking we do on that first little strip of the walk, and the rest of the way we'll just walk normally. It's about a mile total. And so the first walk that we did, my daughter decided that let's walk backwards. Okay, so we all bought into it, so on the beginning of the walk we all turned around and we're all trying to walk backwards on this first little strip of the sidewalk. And it took us a little while. While we were doing that, I started thinking, wow, how symbolic is this, right? Like we're trying to move in one direction, but we're turned around facing another direction. So basically all we're doing is we're looking at the area that we've already covered. We're looking at the sidewalk that we've already walked on. We're looking at where we've already been. We're having a little trouble seeing where we're going because we're having to look over our shoulder all the time, and tree branches are hitting us, and we're like talking to each other, hey, look out, you're about to walk off the sidewalk. And we're trying not to stumble backwards and, lose our balance. And so it was really difficult. We were not able to really walk very fast. We weren't getting a whole lot of traction. And the whole time that we're walking, we're focusing on an area that we've already been. And so I started thinking about how applicable that is to my grief journey. And a lot of other people's grief journeys that I've experienced, in my Facebook groups and in people that have emailed me and contacted me and things like that. I think when we get stuck in a rut of grief, it's because we are not sure how to move forward while we're looking backwards. For sure, we don't want to be walking completely backwards because we have no idea where we're going. We cannot see what's in front of us. We can't prepare. And also, we cannot live in the moment. If we're totally focused on everything that's behind us, our past, everything that we had, number one, we're not appreciating what we have in the present. And number two, we can't look to the future and make any plans for any kind of good life for ourselves while we're totally focused on behind. On the other hand, if we turn around and we only look forward, then we forget about what's behind us. We can't learn from our mistakes in the past. We can't remember. We have memories of our loved ones that we want to take with us that we don't want to forget, because we all know that after we've lost a spouse, whatever memories that we have with them, that's all we get. We don't get any new ones. We don't get to make new memories and have new experiences to put into our memory bank. All we've got is the ones that we've already had. And as more time goes on, the harder and harder it is for us to remember all those details. So I can understand how it's really difficult to think about turning around and totally facing forward and leaving behind the memories of the person that we had. And so what we have to do, the reason why it's so difficult to transition to moving forward, is because we don't know how to reconcile what's behind us with what's in front of us. We start feeling guilty because if we focus on the future and we think about what we have right now and focus on our lives in front of us, we feel like we're leaving our loved ones behind. The farther that we walk, the more time that goes by, the farther behind us those memories of that person are. And it makes us really sad because we don't want to feel guilty and feel like that we're leaving them behind. For the sake of ourselves, for the sake of our children, we don't want to do that. And so we feel like that we're doing them a disservice by turning our backs on their memories and only looking forward. But we're doing ourselves and our children a disservice if we totally turn around and are only focused on what's behind us. If I were to make this video and face the back the whole time and you're looking at the back of my head, you wouldn't want to listen to me for very long, because I wouldn't be giving you anything that was worth anything. You'd be like, well, why is she looking behind her? I want to see, what she's talking about. And so it's a really hard, it's a hard struggle for us to try to balance that. How much do we look forward? How much do we live in the moment? And how much do we look behind us and, and honor and cherish the memory of our lost loved ones? And so I think that the farther that time goes on, if we really try, it gets easier for us to manage that juggling, because people who haven't lost a loved one, they just want us to look forward. They just like, it's time to put the past behind you. Stop thinking about the past. Stop dwelling on the past. Well, there's a difference between thinking about the past and dwelling on the past and living in the past. All right. So what we have to do is figure out, how do we live in the moment? How do we focus on the future? But how do we bring the past with us and carry those memories with us as we move forward so that we don't forget them? All right. And so one of the ways is by cherishing their memory and by reliving those memories and trying to talk about them and share them so that they don't get forgotten. Let's think about, there are certain days in America that we specifically remember things that have happened in the past. Think about Memorial Day. It's specifically for remembering our fallen heroes and veterans in our military. We're supposed to remember them so that we don't forget. On December 7th, that's, that's the day that Pearl Harbor was bombed. On December 7th, we specifically remember, even though most of us weren't even alive at that time, we still think about that and are reminded so that we don't ever forget. What is the motto of 9/11? We will never forget. Every September 11th since 2001, if anybody was alive during that time, every September 11th, we remember those people that we lost that day, the people who were lost in the towers, the people who died in the plane crashes, the people who died in the Pentagon. We have services and we have holidays, and we specifically take our minds back to those days so that we can remember those people that we lost. So it's in our nature that we don't want to forget those things. We purposely don't want to forget, but we don't spend every single day thinking about 9/11 and remembering. We set aside certain holidays and certain times that we specifically take our minds and we think about them so that we don't ever forget. But we also have to put our minds on other things, and we cannot dwell or live in those memories. So what we have to do as we're moving forward is we have to find that balance. Find that balance between moving forward and making a new life for ourselves. Okay, this is our chapter 2. Remember, I did a video about chapter 2. Chapter 2 doesn't have to be a person that you're making a life with. Chapter 2 is your second part, or your next chapter in your life that you are in now, that you're having to create without your spouse. That's your chapter 2. All right. And so we have to create this chapter 2 for ourselves and find that balance between looking ahead, living in the moment, and not forgetting our past. When we get too caught up in the past, that's where we have trouble moving forward. Okay, so we want to just see if we can try to live in that balance, and it's just an everyday struggle for us. I think one of the best ways of doing that is, if you're having trouble and you don't want to forget about those memories, is writing a journal, a memory journal, a grief journal. Okay, and what I've done is I've created some blank pages that you can use as a grief journal that you can print out, and you can write your journal thoughts. You can write your memories about your loved one and write down some things that you don't want to forget, things that you want to make sure to remember. Write them all down so that you can save those memories, and that way you don't have to keep them in your brain so that you have to think about them all the time. You can keep them in this special place so that you can go back and revisit those memories anytime you want, but you can also focus on moving ahead, looking forward, and making this new chapter 2 for yourself. So if you want, I'm going to offer those journal pages that you can download and print for free. All you have to do is go to www.onehappywidow.com/journal. Type that in, it will take you to the page. All you got to do is sign up, and in exchange you will get those free journal pages. All right, and then you can print them up and they're blank, so you can have any kind of journal prompt that you want to and write down those memories and then save them as you like. All right, so that's my gift to you, and maybe that you can use those to kind of help you get those memories on paper so that you don't lose them. If you've ever been on Facebook and you go through, and like I used to write out these little quotes that my kids, funny things that my kids would say, especially when my youngest one was little and she was 2 and 3. She said some of the funniest things, and I would type it out on Facebook and post it and say, my 2-year-old just said this, my 3-year-old just said this, and when I go on Facebook now, it'll say, you posted this 9 years ago, you posted this 8 years ago, and it's some little funny story. And I totally forgot about that story until I read about it again. And I'm so glad that I got reminded, because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when she said that, but I wouldn't have remembered it if it hadn't come up and like triggered that memory for me. So use your journal pages as a way to record some of those special memories, those funny times and those happy times, and write them down so that you can share them with your children and grandchildren, and you can have them yourself for later on. Okay, so that's going to do it for today. Make sure you like and subscribe so you won't miss any more videos. And don't forget to go to www.onehappywidow.com/journal to get those blank journal pages. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.